Honorable Finance Minister, Honorable Minister of Railways, Honorable Minister of Coal, Power and Renewable Energy, Honorable Minister of Environment, Forest and Change, friends and colleagues. You have seen all the passion, you have seen we are being led from the front by the Prime Minister and, of course, our Minister for Renewable Energy in this very important field. I'm truly grateful for the invitation to be a part of this valedictory session of this incredibly impressive conference. It's hard to think of any conference which attracts this kind of attendance at the end in the last session. So my sincere congratulations to Minister Piyush Goyal. I must say that I'm doubly grateful for this invitation because I've been invited despite lacking qualifications for this task. I'm conscious of the vast amount of wisdom that renewable energy community present in this hall carries. So when I speak here, let me just say that I draw inspiration from a historical episode. You may know that in the 11th century, there was a Persian a traveler, Al-Baruni, who passed through India and went to various parts of the country. And he went around and was very impressed with a number of things that he saw. But at the end, when he wrote about India, he said, you know, the thing that impressed me most about the people in the subcontinent was the ability of its people to talk authoritatively about things that they knew nothing about. And so, in the next few minutes, I speak in the grand subcontinental tradition. Going by 2011 census, 1/3 of Indian households have no electricity. In as many as 5 states, the proportion exceeds 50%. In UP, India's largest states, only 37% of the households have had electricity in 2011. In Bihar, the 3rd largest state, the proportion was even smaller at just 17%, incredibly low. Clearly, India needs a massive expansion of electricity, and going by the promise of our Honorable Power Minister, this expansion is going to happen real fast. Such expansion would require the exploitation of all possible sources of electricity, renewable as well as conventional. It would also require a massive expansion of electricity grid. The incremental growth approach that India pursued in the past several decades will simply not do. And we are truly here lucky to have the Prime Minister and the Energy Minister making a big push, a quantum jump. Renewable energy has to be naturally an integral part of the solution to India's electricity problem. Luckily, India has vast potential for both wind and solar energy, and they complement each other. Wind is available in monsoon when solar sources become scarce, and before July, when monsoon arrives, there is plenty of solar from March onwards. So for most of the year, we have one of the two resources. Therefore, renewable energy offers an opportunity. It can be tapped as heat and also as electricity. It can be tapped in small volumes on housetops and also in large megawatt-sized plants. Industries can tap it as power generator and also for their heating solutions. So we need a complement of policies, technologies, and infrastructure for tapping and transporting this energy from place of generation to consumption. But renewable energy is not without its challenges. By all accounts, it remains significantly more costly than conventional sources of energy. It is suggested that the costs are declining quite rapidly, which of course poses another challenge that renewable energy requires massive upfront investment, and because then the technology is also moving very rapidly, if technological advance is going to mean massive reduction in costs in the future, it may be prudent to go slow today to realize the benefits of future cost reductions tomorrow. Why invest massively in technologies that are both to become obsolete and competitive? Regardless of what view one takes, massive upfront investment and prospects of rapid technological advancements together do raise complex issues with respect to optimal time paths of the adoption of renewable energy. In parts of many Indian states, particularly states such as Gujarat and Rajasthan, with plentiful round-the-clock sunlight and sparsely populated habitations, solar energy could become a very cost-effective source of electricity, provided inexpensive batteries could be invented. One of the features of solar energy that discourages its adoption is its availability only during the day and absence of cheap storage for use during the night. Aspirational Indians want a source of electricity that is available round the clock, and that requires cheap batteries, even if they happen to be bulky. Unfortunately, much of the research on batteries has focused on packing more and more storage in smaller and smaller batteries with limited attention paid to their cost. In sparsely populated habitations of India, bulkiness of batteries is not a big issue, high cost of storage is. Use of technology may also help rapid expansion of renewable energy. For example, geospatial mapping can locate areas with large potential that may be close to markets or existing transmission infrastructure. It may then be possible to use solar and wind energy as useful complement to the conventional sources of energy. For rural areas, cheap solar products that can cater to household needs such as cooking, lighting, charging mobile, and powering TVs could make this form of energy more appealing, though in the absence of cheap battery storage, this may prove a challenge too. India has set the ambitious target of 100 gigawatt of installed capacity in renewable energy by 2019. No matter how one looks at it, achieving this target would require massive capital infusion. A critical question is, where will such infusion come from? Public investment is part of the answer, but it can hardly be expected to reach the levels necessary to achieve the targets. And so clearly the private commitments of the kind that we have seen, massive enthusiasm about that is really an incredibly important complement. One would also like to think that the Western countries that have aggressively lobbied the developing countries to go green in pursuit of cutting carbon emissions in these countries would come forward. It seems to me that this is the test of the commitment of these countries. The million-dollar question is, will the assertions by and assurances of foreign investors translate into actual investments? We shall see. At the end of the day, renewable energy must only be seen as one element in the energy strategy. With 1/3 of Indian households still without electricity, India's energy problem is too vast to be left to a single source. It is here that the Honorable Power, Coal and Renewable Energy Minister has got it absolutely right. His strategy includes coal as well as renewable energy, and it also includes the reforms of the Electricity Act of 2003 that our current Railway Minister and former Electricity Minister so nicely designed, and it is crucial to reform of that act is crucial to restoring the current fragile health of distribution companies and creating a competitive electricity sector. In concluding, I want to take a shot at plugging Niti Aayog into the Minister's journey for 100% electrification in the next 5 years in India. States will ultimately have to partner the center if India is to achieve its ambitious goal of 100 gigawatt of electricity through renewable sources. Not only would states provide land and part of the necessary infrastructure, they are also the potential buyers of the electricity so generated. So Niti Aayog stands ready to help serve as the forum for cooperation between the center and states and among states for canvassing, consultation, and policy development. It also stands by to provide interministerial support to the large renewable energy projects. As a down payment on this promise, Niti has even released a report at this conference on the measures that need to be taken for better integration of this electricity in the grid. Thank you very much.